Welcome to the QC Quick Chat, where we bring you conversations with leaders, drivers, and employees. I'm Ara Kerr, Vice President of Driver Services and Marketing, and today we're joined by our lovely guest. We're going to start our interview process here just by asking our guest to introduce himself, how long you've been in transportation, what your title is, and how long you've been at QC.
All right. Thanks, Sarah. I'm Fred Marsicano. I'm the Vice President of Quality Carrier Safety and Security. I've been in transportation just over 35 years now, and I've been with QC for 4 years.
Awesome. So one of the other things we like to do here at the Quick Chat is we like to ask just an icebreaker. And so our icebreaker question is, if you were a driver, what lane would you choose and why?
That's a really good question. I'm trained in defensive driving, so I would say you always choose the path of least resistance. So your choice of lane is situational, but typically it would be the right lane.
Okay, the right lane. I don't think we've had that answer before, but good answer. We also like to poll our audience and ask you what you want to hear from Fred and what are the questions that we can ask Fred. So unanimously, the question came back. And our audience would like to know, what are some of the safety initiatives that QC implements to make sure our drivers get home safely every day?
We have, on our company tractors, we have adaptive cruise control, which helps prevent accidents and collisions. We also have collision mitigation system on the trucks that help prevent like serious types of rear end accidents. We'll go through periodic campaigns to heighten drivers' awareness on safety initiatives. The one we're currently going through right now is our rollover campaign to prevent rollovers. So all the drivers will be given lessons through our learning modules to go through, in addition to what they're periodically going through, to heighten their awareness and prevent rollover accidents.
Yeah, that's a huge one. That's definitely an initiative that we take seriously. And so we know your team is doing a great job putting it together and rolling it out to all the drivers. So.
Yeah, it seems to be working.
Yeah. So one of the most popular questions we ask leaders, we were all excited about the acquisition by CSX2 a little over 2 years ago now. So can you tell us how your role or maybe your team's role has changed since that acquisition?
I think the acquisition has been mutually beneficial to both CSX and QC from a safety and security perspective. My team collaborates with CSX or counterparts of CSX's team on different safety and security issues. We also share resources, so we'll have some of their folks discussing safety topics with our at different meetings, and then one of the campaigns right now, our director of security is doing some training with the police force for CSX. So those are some of the big areas that I think has helped us grow both internally plus having the resources at CSX.
Yeah, that's a huge resource. I don't think we often think about the resources that we get when we have the mega house of CSX now, being a subsidiary of them. And so it's good to know that safety has also benefited from that new partnership and ownership.
Right.
So tell us now, walk us through some of the minimum requirements a driver must have before joining QC. So our teams work very closely together to bring drivers on board, safe drivers, quality drivers on board. And so my team and myself, we take direction from you and your team where you tell us, here are the requirements that we need to look at. So can you kind of walk us through your process for putting those requirements together and what some of those requirements are?
Yes. First off, our drivers need to have at least 1 year driving experience before they come on board with us. And part of the reason is the tank truck industry has so many different components that they'll be learning as far as outside of driving, how to load and unload safely, unload the product safely. So we want people to really understand and have some experience driving before they come with us. So they're not focused on learning how to drive and then focus on the other components of doing the job. So that's a big one. We look at their MVRs, we look at their safety history, and some of the things that we focus on are um, unsafe acts of driving. We have a zero tolerance for drug and alcohol violations while operating the commercial motor vehicle, as well as unsafe driving, cell phone usage like driving, excessive speed, speed in a construction zone. And so we're looking for a responsible, safe driver to come on board with us.
Absolutely. So kind of on the safety side of things, we've talked a little bit about how your team has grown and benefited from the resources of CSX, but I think I was guilty of it for a while, not really understanding the full safety department and all of the different pieces that roll up, right? So can you tell us just a little bit about the departments that report to you and how they play a role on the safety team?
Sure. We have a security department, and within the security group lies our training division. We have 4 schools plus one in Canada that we train our drivers at. So all those folks, the trainers and the security team report to me. We also have 8 regional safety managers that focus on DOT compliance out in the field. So they're hands-on, going to terminals, meeting with drivers, addressing issues, and that group reports up through our director of regional safety. And we also have a group that handles all the DOT compliance and all the regulatory information that has to be kept in records. And so that team resides here in Tampa. And we have an employee health and safety group that focuses on injuries and preventions of injuries throughout the system. And those folks are there's 4 plus a director that report that work out in the field and report up through me too.
I think we always get stuck in thinking safety is just for drivers, but really your whole team covers safety for the entire organization, right? And you have some pretty passionate players that take safety really serious. So we thank you for all that you do in keeping our drivers safe and keeping us compliant as a company and the employees safe as well.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be an interview with the head of safety who didn't ask you for a safety tip. So can you tell us a tip for all of our drivers? What would be your number 1 safety tip?
Yeah, that's another good one. There's so many, but I look at our drivers today as being the soccer moms of the 90s. They have so many responsibilities and multitask all the time, and they need to focus when they're in the truck, driving the truck, and not be distracted by all the other stuff going on. So my tip would be well rested before you come to work so that you could drive safely, avoid distractions, and when you're in the truck and behind the wheel, focus on driving.
Absolutely. Great tip. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today, and thank you, Fred, for joining us for a quick chat. If you haven't done so already, go back and check out some of those other quick chats that we've had, and please join us for our next quick chat. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.